Good evening. The situation in the Middle East remains extremely tense as the conflict involving Iran, Israel, and the United States continues to escalate. Military actions, missile strikes, and political tensions are shaping what analysts describe as one of the most serious regional crises in recent years. The conflict intensified after coordinated military strikes by Israel and the United States targeted several Iranian facilities in late February 2026 as part of a major operation against Iranian military infrastructure. The attacks were aimed at weakening Iran's strategic capabilities and preventing potential threats against Israel and regional allies. In response, Iran launched multiple missile attacks toward Israeli territory and U.S. military positions across the Middle East. Several cities in Israel were placed under emergency alert as air defense systems attempted to intercept incoming missiles. Despite advanced defensive systems, some missiles struck urban areas, causing casualties and significant damage. The conflict has expanded beyond direct strikes between the three nations. Iranian-aligned groups across the region have also become involved, increasing tensions across multiple countries. Armed groups in neighboring areas have launched rockets and drones toward Israeli and U.S. targets, while Israeli forces have carried out counterstrikes against those positions. One of the most dramatic developments early in the conflict was the death of Iran's supreme leader Ali Khamenei during an airstrike in Tehran. The strike was reportedly part of a broader effort to target Iran's senior leadership and military command structure. Following the event, Iran announced a new leadership council and political transition. The war has quickly expanded into a wider regional crisis affecting shipping routes, energy markets, and global security. One of the most critical flashpoints is the Strait of Hormuz, a vital shipping route through which a large portion of the world's oil supply travels. Increased military activity and threats to commercial vessels have raised fears of disruption to global energy markets. As the fighting continues, the United States has increased its military presence in the region. Additional aircraft, naval forces, and missile defense systems have been deployed to support Israel and protect American military bases in nearby countries. U.S. officials say the goal is to deter further escalation and defend allied interests. Meanwhile, Israel's military has continued to carry out strikes targeting missile launch sites, military installations, and logistical networks linked to Iranian forces and allied groups. Israeli leaders say these operations are necessary to prevent further attacks on Israeli cities and civilian areas. Iranian officials, however, have strongly condemned the strikes, accusing Israel and the United States of aggression and warning that retaliation will continue. Iranian leaders have called on regional allies to oppose U.S. military presence and support Iran in resisting what they describe as foreign intervention. Across the Middle East, governments are closely monitoring the situation. Several countries have urged restraint and called for diplomatic efforts to prevent the conflict from turning into a broader regional war. International organizations and global leaders are also pushing for negotiations and ceasefire discussions. The conflict has already had major economic consequences. Oil prices have surged as markets react to uncertainty surrounding the Strait of Hormuz and the stability of energy supplies from the Gulf region. Global financial markets have also shown volatility as investors react to the growing geopolitical risk. Military analysts say the situation remains unpredictable. While both sides have demonstrated significant military capabilities, prolonged conflict could have severe consequences not only for the Middle East but also for global security and economic stability. Another major concern is the potential for the conflict to draw in additional countries. Several regional powers and international allies are watching developments closely, and diplomatic efforts are underway to prevent the war from expanding further. For civilians living in the region, the situation remains extremely challenging. Air raid alerts, damaged infrastructure, and disruptions to daily life have become common in several affected areas. Humanitarian organizations are warning that prolonged fighting could worsen humanitarian conditions across multiple countries. Despite the ongoing conflict, international leaders continue to call for dialogue and diplomatic solutions. Many experts argue that negotiations remain the only sustainable path toward reducing tensions and preventing further escalation. For now, the war between Iran, Israel, and the United States continues to dominate global headlines, with military operations and political developments unfolding rapidly. Governments, analysts, and citizens around the world are watching closely as the situation evolves. As new developments emerge, the international community will continue to assess whether this conflict moves toward de-escalation through diplomacy or whether it risks expanding into an even larger regional confrontation. Stay tuned for further updates as this fast-moving and highly consequential global story continues to develop.